Unquestionably Raw podcast. We have a Warriors special today. I have my man Sam Esfandiari. He's a Warriors World contributor. Hello, Sam. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great, man. Me and Matt, we're looking forward to this. I mean,
yes, sir.
We're big supporters of the Warriors movement. I mean, they give us headlines when they're not even playing. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it, man.
You should say you're a big fan of the Draymond movement because he gives headlines whenever anything's going on. Last night was a little humbling. So they rested Iguodala, who never really gets the credit he deserves. He just kind of especially with a team with all those scorers, he kind of fills in all the gaps. And then Zaza was out with a wrist thing. If there's one team you probably want to have him for, it's Memphis because they got size. And they just came out flat. There's no other way to put it. Memphis plays with a lot of heart. They got into him defensively. One thing Memphis does that most teams don't do is they're not impressed by the Warriors. A lot of teams in the league I see kind of give them too much respect, and then they start making shots. Memphis treats them like they're just like they're the JV team. They're not afraid to hit them. They're not afraid to go after them, and so they got a huge lead on them.
So in that sense, they're like the Clippers, but with better results against them.
Absolutely. So I think the Warriors probably thought they would roll him. They knew Conley wasn't playing. Parsons is out indefinitely. I mean, Marcus Hall's great, but you look at the rest of the team, it's kind of no name, right? And the Warriors came out flat, and Memphis started getting into them, and they just couldn't turn it around. The Warriors have this kind of cocky bravado about them where they think they can just come back on anyone, and quite frankly, most of the time they can. And they got bit in the ass last night. There's no other way to put it.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Gonzo, do you have any comments on last night's game? I'm sure you do.
Just one of those things where I think that first of all, we got to realize Memphis, they have talented players, and they have guys who can do what they specialize in. Tony Allen knows he's going to play defense. Marc Gasol's going to play D. He's going to score. Zach Randolph's going to come off the bench. He can put up 15 to 20 points on any given night. You got enough guys where you can actually win some games with Memphis, and the fact that they have a heart that kind of puts them over the top. And they can always give them a chance to be in games. And what you saw last night was a good case of just good teamwork and grind it out. They had 6 or 7 guys in double digits, which is, it's hard to beat a team when you got that many guys scoring in double digits anyway.
That's right.
Shout out to Memphis, man. I did not see them this high up in the East, looking at the roster. But it just goes to show you that if you got some good veteran players, good veteran leadership, and guys who want to play defense and want to go out there and win, and you got a decent coach, man, you can accomplish more than what people more than the standard that people put out for you, man. They're doing a great job. I like Fizdale.
Indeed, great points, Gonzo. What about you, Matt? What'd you say?
Memphis really got into them. They were super physical. And the 2 takeaways, when you turn the ball over and you put the other team at the foul line 100 million times, that's a recipe for disaster. You're going to lose. They couldn't stop fouling them. And they were all good calls. It's not like,
Yeah, it wasn't any sort of home reffing or anything like that. The Warriors were sloppy. They came out lackadaisical, and Memphis just took it to them. It's that simple.
One thing that caught me, for whatever reason, I didn't get both broadcasts on my league pass. I only had the Memphis broadcast. And their guy, I forgot his name, but he was. It wasn't Brevin. It might have been Brevin Knight was saying, "Man, the Warriors complain on every single foul call." And I'm thinking to myself, so does every other team in the NBA. Yeah. It's not just the Warriors and the Clippers. It's just because they're known for it that they get the most credit. They all complain. I've never seen a call on LeBron James, a foul call that he didn't like.
Well, you know what it is? You know what it is, Matt? I think it's because the coaching staff complains as well. I don't want to say Steve Kerr complains a lot, but I think the Clips get a bad reputation because their head coach does it just as much as Chris Paul. So that's probably why they say it.
In the Clippers case, it is a fair criticism because they've led the league in techs for 3 years in a row. So it's someone's got to lead the league. Someone has to complain the most. It is them. But I think you're right, Matt. Everyone complains. The Warriors complain. Definitely when you have you see Steph always trying to work the refs. Draymond gets kind of the headlines for being bombastic and everything. But Steph and KD are always talking to the refs. No different than LeBron or any player trying to kind of get the calls like, "Hey, look at him holding me." You know, it's politicking. It's what you should do.
Right. Phil Jackson-esque, but except for on the court instead of in the media. But
absolutely,
great points, guys. So I'm just going to jump right into Curry. Sam, when did you realize Curry was going to be special, and what's your favorite Curry moment?
All right, so I did not like when the Warriors drafted Curry. Like everyone else I thought he'd be a good shooter in the league, could handle a little bit, but I didn't think he was going to be, more than a rotation guy. And then his rookie year, Don Nelson was the coach then, who's probably the perfect coach for Steph Curry at that point in his life. He put up a 35-point triple-double in the first half of his rookie year. He's one of like 3 or 4 rookies to do that. It was like him, Jordan, Oscar Robertson. That's about it. And not saying I thought he'd be anywhere near this, but like in his rookie year, he was averaging something like 20 and 7. And I was like, okay, this kid can play. He's definitely got a future as a starter in this league, maybe even like a fringe all-star.
And that was all done with the volume shooter in Monte Ellis.
Yeah. So I thought he was. I thought his trajectory was maybe something along the lines of like prime Mike Bibby. Where you're like, this guy is like a good second or third option, can hit the outside shots and kind of help your team, but he can't be the star of a team, right? I couldn't imagine a 6'2" guy who isn't particularly athletic, who kind of shoots from the outside being the go-to guy. We just hadn't seen it before. Stars they live around the rim, they get to the line, they're big, they do stuff like that. Probably in the 2013 playoffs when he sunk Denver on one leg with all those like 20-point quarters, and then into the Spurs series when he gave him a scare there. That's when I thought this kid has a chance to be really special. Like he can be a 25-point per game like go-to guy. So he just kind of and even last year after his MVP year and the first title, I thought that's kind of what he was, and he topped it last year. So as much as I've liked him from the beginning, his like game as his rookie, he just keeps exceeding my expectations.
I mean, yeah, he's a truly special player. You cannot take that away from him. Gonzo, do you have any comments on this as well?
I knew he was kind of special when he was at Davidson. For a guy his height and his size, to take a team like Davidson that far in the NCAA tournament, first of all, that's very impressive. That kind of makes makes him stand out a little bit. My question for Curry, especially after his first season, it's 2 things I wanted to see him do. I knew he could shoot. He comes from his dad was a great shooter, so I'm quite sure his dad would instill the same shooting techniques or whatever made him a great shooter. He would instill in his son. My question was his health. Would he be able to take the long schedule of an NBA season and stay healthy? And could he get to the hole and score? Because when your jump shot's not falling, can you get to the rack? And what I seen a few years ago, which really made me stand out, that he was like if I'm not mistaken, like the top 10 in points in the paint. Like he was actually going to the hole and scoring. So that kind of stood out to me. So that lets me know now, even if he's not getting a jump shot, he can still go to the basket and score buckets. And he's a great free throw shooter. And he has been pretty healthy, these past few seasons. So I right now, looking at Steph Curry's career, and I might have said this on past shows we've had, I might have Curry in my top 5 point guards of all time.
He's in my top 5. I'll say it.
I think I would too. It's interesting because like everyone else I put in that top 5 is a better passer, turns it over less than him, but he's so special at the things he does that a rational person can say Chris Paul does more things at a high level than Steph, but what Steph does is at such a high level and unseen that the impact is probably greater.
I think it's a fair assessment. I'm the type of person, I know he's been in the league like for a decent amount, but I just need it doesn't need to be this high of a level, but it still needs to be like all-star, almost MVP level of ball, maybe for about 4 or 5 more years. There's a lot of great point guards that have graced this league, so I'm kind of hesitant, but it's a fair assessment to say that. I just kind of want to wait a little longer.
Can I add one more thing? I don't think that Steph Curry is not a great passer. I think that his team just requires him to score more. I think if they really needed him to pass, he could get double-digit assists. I believe he could. And top 5, I question this, and I've always put Magic Johnson at number 1. I had like Isaiah 2. I will probably put Stockton at 3. I would probably put Curry at 4. And if I had 5, I would probably have to go with the logo. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, no doubt Steph's a good passer. I'm just saying relative to those guys, he's a little looser with his passes. Like he definitely loves to he's got a little, like he always says Nash and Reggie Miller are his 2 favorite players. And you can see he kind of tries to blend their game. And he has that thing where he tries to make those crazy Nash-like passes. He connects with a lot of them, but when he misses, it can be just the ugliest turnover.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. I agree.
And
right.
Matt, what about you? When did you realize Curry was going to be?
I'm going to be the first to admit, one of the few times I'm going to agree with Steph Bayless. I actually thought he should have been the number 1 pick when he came out. I've been following this guy since his freshman year, when he put like 26 or 27 on Duke, and then his sophomore year when he didn't just get them to the Elite 8. They went through powerhouses, Georgetown, Gonzaga. They lose to Wisconsin. They beat Kansas. They lose to Wisconsin. Or no, they beat Wisconsin. They lost to Kansas in the Elite 8 barely. He carried that team. And you do that for a small school. He had no NBA talent on that Davidson team, and he just carried them. And that's when I realized, like, this guy is going to be good. Now, I'll admit, I didn't think he'd be like a unanimous MVP, but I thought he'd be a really, really good player. Yeah. And as far as moment, man, there's actually a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm still racking my brain. I think that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the 13 threes was big. Mine probably was. I remember if I remember correctly, when they played the Spurs in 2013 in the second round. I actually thought they were going to beat him that year.
Oh yeah,
was it one of him? Like Klay goes off one game and Curry goes off. Well, the game Curry went off.
Curry went off game 1. I was actually going to mention that because watching him dismantle Denver. I mean, Denver wasn't a great defensive team. Right. They were a better team than the Warriors, but they weren't the Spurs, right? Mm-hmm. And the Spurs, he went for 40 in game 1, and by halftime, Pop was putting Kawhi and Danny Green on him and sending traps on him, and it didn't matter. And that's when I was like, wow, this guy.
That's what I think. That was kind of like his coming out party nationally.
Yeah, right.
Because anybody can. I mean, you do it against Denver, no one's gonna. But you do it against the Spurs, and now everybody's got your attention. You've got everybody's attention now.
I think it just came to me. My favorite Steph Curry game was last year against OKC. The 12 3-point game.
Oh yeah, we hit the shot at the
yeah because
there we go.
he got first off, everyone else on the Warriors was playing poorly that night. Pretty much, it was just they weren't having. He was really bailing them out consistently over and over again. And if you remember, he went for a layup, and Russell Westbrook came down on his ankle, so he went to the locker room and missed almost. He missed 2/3 of the third quarter. And then he comes back in. He's kind of limping around. He's still able to make all those plays and finally hit that overtime game winner. I just thought that was like it was a really cool moment.
That was a half-court shot, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely my favorite moment because what's funny is
it was like him at the peak of his powers, if you want to put it.
I jumped it like I was surprised, but at the same time I was like, before he shot it, I was like, he can make this. And it still surprised me and shocked me because he made it. But it's just like he's at that point now where he may not be hitting those shots right now, but even like I still think he can do it. I just think he hasn't found his groove as far as like his far out shots because he doesn't really need to at this point. Mm-hmm. But definitely that shot is going to go down in NBA history as one of the best shots ever. Like
for regular season regular season game, that was one of the. That was probably the game of the year last year. It was one of the most fun games I've ever seen.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it was.
I really agree with that. Great points, guys. And see, this just lets y'all know Unquestionably Raw is honest, and we have a lot of different opinions. So I really respect that, and that's why I enjoy it. So here's a good one, man. Where were you, Sam, when Klay had his career scoring night against the Pacers?
I was on my couch. No other way to put it. I had a company Christmas party. It was a happy hour type deal, so I couldn't go to the game myself. And so I come home a few drinks deep, as those happy hour things go, and just lie down on my couch and start watching the game. And I thought I'm watching him make the shots. I'm seeing the score, and I'm feeling a little blurry. I'm like, did I drink too much? I couldn't tell. Then as I sober up as the game goes on, I'm like, wow, what is going on here?
So let me just say for our drinking viewers, what was your go-to drink that night? What was it?
Well, they had what was it? There was a drink special, so it was some sort of what was it? Like an old fashioned. So a few old fashions there. Yeah. It was
that's classic.
It was a great recap to a fun night. Or nightcap.
I'm glad you can at least enjoy it. I'll tell y'all where I was at, but Gonzo, what were you doing, man, and what were you feeling when that game was going on?
I was sitting on the sofa in my living room, and I kind of got upset after he scored his 60th point and they put him on the bench because I think he could have scored 80. I think he could have broke Kobe's record that night. You know, I'm tired of the fact that they're putting players on the bench now to preserve these old guys' records. And as of lately, I have NBA League Pass, so I've watched a lot of these old games. And these players today are so much better than the older players. They would absolutely run Wilt and Bill Russell and all those guys. They would run them out of the gym, and it just goes to show me, and it kind of showed me the person who opened my eyes to this the most was probably Oscar Robertson when he started hating on Steph Curry. Just to know that he probably wouldn't be able to handle Steph if he played against Steph. And one more thing I wanted to add. We look at Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. We give him so much credit for that. But I just found out recently, listening to some old footage on the technique on how they got Wilt Chamberlain 100 points. When Wilt Chamberlain would score or after he made his free throw baskets, his team would foul the New York Knicks teammates immediately to stop the clock and to send him to the free throw line just so they can get Will the ball back just so he can get 100 points. So they pretty much, in so many words, they pretty much cheated and
they ran the score up.
Yeah, they ran the score up on purpose. They used tactics and things just to get Wilt Chamberlain at the line so he can score 100 points. So why don't people play their players to the fourth quarter? Let them destroy those records.
I think that's a good example why Kobe's 81 was so special because one, they needed it. They were losing the whole game, and it was a competitive game the whole way through.
Right.
Like he was hunting his shot in the way he does because he's a scorer, but he wasn't looking to run up any score. He was doing it to win the game, and it just naturally happened. Absolutely. So I think that's cool. I totally agree with you. Klay could have gone for 80-some that night. I'm sure KD can catch fire and do the same on any given night, but they're playing on a team where if they're that hot, they're going to be blowing a team out by the third quarter that they're never going to get the opportunity to go for it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Unless a bunch of guys sit out a game, unless you get a game where like Steph and Klay both have a little injury and KD's got to just carry the load that night.
Right. I can definitely see that happening. Definitely a special moment. Matt, what were you doing? I'm pretty sure you were able to watch it. But...
Yeah, I was in my room. I've watched every Warriors game, almost since Steph came in the league. The beauty of League Pass. He is my favorite player. Everybody knows that. Yes, but I was in my room watching the game. It was amazing, but some people were saying, it was better than what Kobe did. We know Klay, 88 seconds he had the ball, took 11 dribbles, all that good stuff, which is fantastic. But Sam made a good point. Kobe did it in like a game they had to have. And remember, they were fighting for a playoff spot, the Lakers were, and they were getting smacked in that game. They were down 20 at one point. And if I'm not mistaken, Kobe only had that game like 25, 26, like 55 of those points came in the second half. Yeah. He just went absolutely nuts. He was hitting shots with three hands draped all over him. It's not like he was just hitting wide open threes with the great ball movement that the Lakers had. I'm being sarcastic, but it was just a great performance. And what Klay did was absolutely fantastic. Still, I don't know if he would have got the 81 because he taking all those three. I don't know if he would if his legs would have went. You just never know. Being a jump shooter, you just never know if he would have broke it. He could have absolutely because he is just such a fantastic shooter.
All right, guys. Well, I mean, indeed, I was also on the couch, but for some reason I don't have NBA TV, but I have League Pass, so I had to resort to memes and following people on Twitter to see what was going on. So it was exciting to read it, but I'm sure it would have been a lot better.
You could have, if you have League Pass, you can get on the phone or the computer if you got it on your phone and watch the They usually let you watch the replay like 24 hours later if it's a national TV game.
I didn't know that. I thought it would still be blacked out.
No, you got to wait like 24 or 48 hours, and you can then watch.
I think it's actually just after midnight the day they post.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
You're right. It's like you can't watch it live.
No, but they changed it this year where you can watch it a few hours after it's done.
Oh, so I can go back and watch it because I literally have not seen like most of like the highlights. So
yeah, the only thing like Gonzo and I can't watch Bulls games even after they're over since we're in Illinois.
Yeah. See. NBA League Pass has not been that functional this year, so there's a weird thing.
Awful. Really?
Yes.
I haven't had any problems at all.
It's pretty bad, and the only thing that's weird for me, and it's not that bad, for some reason they blacked out the Houston games, and I'm not even near Houston.
That's weird.
I can't watch Houston games on NBA League Pass, so the only time I can catch them is on TV, which is very odd because I usually hate watching the Rockets, but this year the D'Antoni system is beautiful with Harden running it. So.
Yeah, they would be my number one. Outside the Warriors, they're easily my number one team I like watching.
Definitely. And you know what? I didn't even think Gordon would be that good this year, but you know what? I'm glad he's playing well this year, and Ryan Anderson. But not too much on the Rockets. They'll get their day someday, maybe. I don't know.
We'll have to get Moochie Norris back on for that.
There we go.
Talk about the Rockets.
There we go. Or Byron. So sticking with Klay, this one's more of a lighthearted thing. Sam, your most interesting fact about Klay, because he is the second most interesting man in the world besides my Dos Equis guy.
One of my favorite things is how the Warriors always make fun of Klay. The running joke is they constantly clown on him for being thirsty for shots. So that always cracks me up. I like how comfortable he just is in his own skin. He absolutely has no shame in taking 33 shots with Steph and KD on the same team as him. And that's what he did, and he put up 60. In some ways, it's kind of necessary because everyone on the Warriors loves to make the extra pass. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need that guy who lets it rip.
And he does. And he'll catch and shoot with a hand right there, and he'll just catch and fire it with no thought whatsoever. I'm shooting this ball.
Indeed, man. I mean, he's funny. He's chill. Like, I think that if he wanted to, he could really let it rip with some other, like, verbal things, but he just chooses to, just chill out. And my favorite quote from him this offseason was when, I'm not changing shit. He's
kind of got a deadpan quality to him. It's like the interview, he's like, yeah, they say there's one ball and we're going to put it through the hoop. just very matter of fact.
What about you, Gonzo? What's your favorite thing about Klay? Your favorite fact?
I like the fact that Klay can light it up at any given moment. Just when you think that he might not do too much in a night, he might just score 25 points in a quarter. He's that lethal. He is one of those guys that you do have to account for on the basketball court. The man can play. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go.
No, I said, honestly, when it's all said and done, at the end of their careers, you'll most likely going to see Steph and Klay in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Now the question is, would he be first or second ballot? That's a question.
He's first ballot.
First ballot. He'd be first. Both of them be first ballot. Absolutely.
At their current trajectory, for sure. Just got to see him do it for a few more years.
Okay, just have to throw it out there because I honestly don't. I mean, he puts up the numbers. I just don't know. If he would be first ballot, but it's definitely something worth talking about.
Think about it. To add one more thing, to think about, Klay's a better player, and everybody talks about Reggie Miller. I think Klay's better than Reggie.
I think he is too. Klay is 26 right now. I think he's better than Reggie was at that point, and he's in year 6. So you kind of forget that he's still got a lot of years ahead of him to kind of add to his legacy. Like I have Game 6 versus OKC still on my DVR. It's one of my favorite watches. Just watching Klay essentially take the series from the Thunder. That shooting performance was just one for the ages. And I think that's the only thing Reggie Miller has on him. He has probably like 4 to 6 of those playoff games that the one where he hit 8 points in 9 seconds.
Against the Knicks.
Yeah. And then like the Knicks one with the choke sign. Like he's just had more of those moments. So I'm sure when it's all said and done and Klay's put up his moments, he'll be up there with Ray Allen in terms of best shooters, the shooting guard position.
Great points, guys. Great points. What about you, Matt?
I just like his overall attitude as young. I guess the young people like to call it swag. I just like that. He just has that mentality, and that's obviously Lance and Gonzo know that's what Byron hates about him the most. He thinks Klay's just the most arrogant dude, but I love it.
But hey,
I absolutely love it.
A lot of great players are drenched with arrogance. So
the most arrogant player in the history of the game is Byron's all-time favorite, Michael Jordan.
Exactly. So. The man that slapped Steve Kerr in practice.
Yep.
But I'm gonna keep mine. Mine's a little simpler and funnier. I love everyone's what y'all brought. I just like the fact that he has a French bulldog.
There you go.
I'm a huge animal guy, man, and an NBA star. Usually you would think they would get some big old cool like pit bull or like Saint Bernard or something big, and he has a funny little French bulldog. I think that's so cool.
They did a little story on the local on CSN Bay Area, which covers Warriors games out here. On his dog's name's Rocco, and they did like an interview with him and the dog. I think I tweeted out a couple video clips of it, but it's absolutely hilarious. He just loves to just hang out with this dog. It's this thing which and he's 6'7", so it really looks like a guinea pig in his lap.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And like you said, comfortable in his own skin. I mean, let's not front, man. Like some guys, they feel that they have to have some big dog that validate them as a man. But this dude can just have a tiny little dog. He's just fine with it, man.
Yeah.
That's respect.
Yes.
All right, guys. So we're going to go from a real chill dude to a freaking maniac, maybe perhaps an evil genius. Sam, is Draymond that said evil genius, or is he just out of control?
I'd say evil genius. I think he's incredibly intelligent. Marcus Thompson, who covers the Warriors, or now he's a columnist for the Bay Area News Group, kind of put it best to me. He said, Draymond is that smart kid in class who knows he's smart and talks back to the teacher. Describing Draymond's relationship with Kerr. He's like, you got all these guys on the team, like Steph and Klay, they got to be the easiest guys to coach because, they're as far as egos go, like they're not going to complain if they don't get the ball certain ways. They'll play the team scheme. They're not going to complain that things aren't, why aren't you running enough plays for me or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And Draymond's kind of a different guy. He'll question authority sometimes to his detriment. Actually, a lot of times to his detriment. He's an absolutely necessary factor. If you want to tie back to the Memphis game, one thing I love about Memphis is they take on the identity of their vets. Like Tony Allen is the identity of the Memphis. And when he gets into it defensively, everyone follows and they play like him. Draymond is that for the Warriors. And Draymond was flat last night. Like he was going through the motions. He hadn't really ignited the fire the way you see. And the Warriors were flat. When you see the Warriors get into it, it almost always starts with Draymond on the defensive end. So I think he's for lack of a better way to put it, an evil genius.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I thought. Because I mean, with an evil genius, it's almost borderline like you are actually crazy, and most people can't see it. So that's why I like to say it like that, because everyone thinks he's crazy, but maybe there's just something that we're missing, that slight thing that we're missing, that he's really a genius. But Gonzo, I know me and Matt know how you feel. But go ahead and speak with peace, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think Draymond does a lot of crazy stuff, and I think it's for attention. But also, I think it's because you got to have a guy on the team that kind of creates that balance. You know, Klay and Steph and Katie and, you know, Iguodala, they're all kind of mild-mannered guys. So you got to kind of have that one guy who kind of gets the team kind of like heated up, you know, just kind of push the emotion kind of over the top sometimes. It's almost like you got Klay, Steph, Katie, and Iguodala, and just, you know, players on the team. You know, these are the pieces of gold on the team, right? They're the most cherished pieces. But to me, Draymond is kind of like the flame that refines the gold. You know, when he turns the heat up, it kind of makes everybody else play better. So it's kind of what Sam just said. It's Draymond is the guy who likes to fight for the team. When he's in goal mode, everybody's in goal mode. When he's flat, they're flat. So they kind of need it. It's kind of like what Bill Laimbeer was to the Pistons. If he wasn't going, the Pistons were going to lose probably. But when he was getting on people's nerves, picking fights, starting stuff, guess what? It made the Detroit Pistons play like the champs that they were.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie, Gonzo. You threw a curveball in there. I thought you were going to say what you said the other night, but I like it. Great points, Gonzo. Matt, what about you?
I absolutely love Draymond Green. And as someone who watched a lot of those Jordan Bulls teams, now granted their games are different, but he's kind of like the Dennis Rodman for this team. You know, he's an irritant out there, you know, with the kicking and all that stuff. Now, Sam, I got to ask you this, because I'm content that he's kicking these guys and he gets into that mode and he doesn't even know he's doing it. I think it seems like it's a subconscious thing, and when he's doing it, he doesn't realize he's doing it at that time.
I think 99% of the kicking is him trying to flop for foul calls. And I just think, quite frankly, he's less coordinated, athletic, and smooth than say LeBron or Russell Westbrook. They do the same thing, kicking out on shots or making like rip motions to try to draw the attention. How many shooters have you seen kick out when they get touched? He's just
right.
He's not as smooth with it. And then if you replay anything in slow-mo, it looks worse.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's not to say some of them aren't borderline, but a lot of it is. You got to remember, he's probably 6'6". He's shorter than Klay Thompson, and granted, he's got an unreal wingspan. He's really strong. Mm-hmm. He's still dealing with the fact that he's guarding guys 4 to 5 inches taller than him on the regular, and he's trying to create space. He's trying to do anything to get a clean look, and he's been trying to experiment with flopping to get foul calls. I see a lot of the kickouts with like release. I don't know why I did that. You can't really see it, but where you try to, you try to create that space, and he's kind of goofy with it. So I think he's got to be.
Unfortunately, like you said, he's not the most graceful man on the floor.
No, exactly. It's like you watch Russell Westbrook do it, and I mean, Russ is one of the, 3, 4, 5 most athletic guys who've ever played in the NBA. And even when he kicks out, you see what he's doing. It looks so smooth, you don't want to call foul on it.
Yeah,
I mean, or like Blake Griffin does the same thing, but Blake's a world-class athlete too. Draymond just it's a little sloppier. It's not as it's easy to call.
Yeah, the main one that I've seen this year is a Marquise Chris one. I don't understand that one. I don't see how he did that. I don't.
I mean, he was shooting up. He didn't really need to kick him.
Yeah,
that one's borderline. But like the Harden one, he was kicking up with flailing his arms, trying to get a call, and then Harden, being the smart guy he is, snapped his head back into his leg. Also, he knew exactly what he was doing, and that's great awareness on Harden.
It's like when Harden drives in and he sticks his arm under you and he pulls, and then he gets to go to the line.
You should do that. You should go at Draymond and try to draw that stuff, because if you take him off the floor, the Warriors are nowhere near as good.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll go ahead, Sam. Go ahead, finish.
No, that's all I was going to say.
Oh, got you. Great points, gentlemen. Now let's go from the All-Stars to bench players. Sam, who is the player coming off the bench that's having a good season, and why should we care?
He started off awful, but Iguodala has been really good the last 3 weeks or so. And Iguodala is kind of, what's the expression people like to use? He's a tax day player. He makes his money post April 15th. They really don't care what he does, because they know he's a vital piece in the playoffs. he's kind of that last piece of their best 5 players that makes that lineup go. He's going to draw the assignment of guarding LeBron if they get to the finals again. And he started off slow. I think he was pacing himself because he keeps himself in great shape. I didn't see any signs of necessarily athletic decline. And the last few weeks you're seeing it. Like he's just as athletic as he was last year, which isn't to say, what he was when he was a dunk champion, but that's kind of the key piece there. Everyone else is, for lack of a better term, replaceable. Iguodala is not.
Right.
So he's kind of the guy you got to keep your eye on, because if he has a sharp decline, the Warriors, I don't know who they play in crunch time with a core 4.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but was it last season or was it earlier this season that he was having back problems?
It was last season. I think it's been a chronic thing, but his back locked up in Game 6 of the final, kind of the worst time to have it happen, right? Mm-hmm. Someone said they just think it was exhaustion. When the Warriors went down 3-1 to OKC, he started playing 40 minutes a game, covering Durant and LeBron for 14 games in a row at playoff intensity, and he was getting 40-plus minutes a game, which I don't know if he really has the legs for. I think did his back in and probably helped the Cavs win. But that's the main thing. He's had issues with his knees. He's had the what is it? Is it the PCP where they spin the blood in your knee? Whatever the Kobe thing is in Germany.
Yeah, isn't that what D'Angelo Russell just had? Yeah,
it's becoming a pretty common procedure, but he's had to do that a few times. He's 32. He's got some miles on him. So if the Warriors had their way, he's their Manu Ginobili. Completely different style of player, but someone they keep at about 20-ish minutes during the regular season, and is kind of that wild card that they use when they get to the playoffs.
Hey, that's a good name and some good points. Pretty much without him, like you say, their secondary is pretty much crippled at that point defensively.
Yeah, you got Livingston. He can do some things, but there's a big difference between giving you a solid 15 to 18 off the bench and being asked to go 30.
Right. Gonzo, do you have anything quick to add to this?
He's muted right now. He must have had to step away for a minute. There he goes. There he goes.
You said a bench player. I like Ian Clark, man. He's pretty good. I'm impressed with him off the bench.
I like him too. He's been slowly taking over that Barbosa role. It's been working pretty well. He's a fun little player.
Yes.
And what about you, Matt?
I was gonna say Clark as well, but I'm gonna say I'll use 2. I think JaVale McGee's kind of he's found himself again a little bit, and I saw earlier today Kerr's looking at upping his minutes a little bit, which I think could help them. Just don't have him do too much. Let him catch lobs, let him play defense and block shots and rebound. Just leave it at that. And then another guy who I think has been a decent guy for them has been Patrick McCaw.
Yep.
I really like him. I think he's going to be a nice piece for them going forward. He'll have his ups and downs being a rookie, but I really like his game. He can get out, defend a little bit. He'll make open threes. I think he's going to be pretty good for them going forward.
I really like McCaw. I'm thinking about from a playoff perspective. I'm not counting on him being a key contributor, but if I was to guess, I think he's going to replace Livingston next year, because I don't think they'll be able to keep Iguodala and Livingston with cap casualty and everything, and I'm 100% positive that they'd choose Iguodala over Livingston, assuming health.
Absolutely.
Great points, gentlemen. Great points. All right, now going from players to more of a team-based question. Sam, what Western Conference team do you see as the biggest threat to the Warriors this year?
I'd say the Clippers. I wish the answer would be if I could have Pop coach the Clippers, but I think the Spurs, they're a player or two away. They can't play Pau Gasol against the Warriors. They had that opening night trumping of the Warriors, but that was opening night. They're just too unathletic, and Kawhi can only cover one man. So
Yep.
Even Danny Green's a really good defender, and he's done well as anyone guarding Steph. That's two guys. You still have no one who can cover Klay, or if you're going to put Kawhi on Klay, then who's guarding KD? Mm-hmm. Then you're talking about running the pick and rolls at their bigs, who are generally bad defenders. So I don't think the Spurs are a real threat, even if they're going to get the better record. And the Clippers, if they're playing at their max ability, they have athletic enough bigs that you can't run them off the floor, and they can crash the glass to the point where they can punish the Warriors that way. But I don't think either team should beat the Warriors, assuming everyone's healthy on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough. Definitely with the age, and also, I mean, Gasol was never a stellar defensive player anyways, and Tim Duncan being gone, it's just hard because I want to say the Spurs too, but I mean, Parker is definitely not going to be able to chase anyone around. Even when he was younger, he wouldn't be able to hold Steph.
I almost feel like Parker's the bigger issue than Gasol, because they can always put LaMarcus at center or put Dedmon in there. Like, Dedmon's a nice defender.
Indeed. Gonzo, what about you? Who's the team?
I have three. I think Utah healthy could be a problem. Second, I would say Memphis. And the reason why I say Memphis is that even if the Warriors sweep them, you're gonna use so much energy playing Memphis in a series, you might mess around and lose the next round. So Memphis.
I forgot about Memphis. If they get Parsons back, I mean, they're going to get Conley back, but if they can get Parsons into the fold too to give him a little different dimension, that actually might be the best team.
Sam, how could you forget about them unless they gave you a concussion from that beating last night? I don't see how you forgot about them.
Not bad.
No, you're good, man. Concussion protocol. I'm sorry that we made you play today. I'm sorry. Matt, what about you, man?
I actually agree. I got two. I think they'll handle Memphis. I honestly wouldn't be too worried about them. Yeah. That's just me though. The Utah Jazz, if healthy, and Sam will know, they've given the Warriors problems the last couple of years. They're always, and look at the game on Thursday. Hayward's out, Faves is out, no George Hill. And that ended up being a pretty close game. It gave them some problems. Now you get all those guys healthy. It's a weird matchup for the Warriors. So that's the one I think I'd be the most worried about. You don't have to worry about them in the first round because Utah is going to be a top 5 team. And the other team that I don't I don't think they'll beat the Warriors, but I could see the Rockets actually giving them problems with that pace they play at, and all the threes they hit. If they get hot, I could see them giving, the Warriors problems. And somehow, watching the Rockets play, living in Houston all those years, somehow in the playoffs, they always catch breaks. Last year, Steph goes down. The year before, the monumental collapse of the Los Angeles Clippers. They just seem to catch breaks.
Yeah, definitely I could see that. I mean, Dan Antoni's not known for, going to the finals or anything, but he definitely is known for.
Yeah, and this Rockets team is better. This Rockets team is better defensively than they're given credit for.
D'Antoni's probably my early coach of the year candidate right now. Him or Ty Lue. So I mean, they look really good. I think they've had the most road games of anyone in the NBA right now. So for them to have the record they have, they should get over 50 wins, which I don't know how many people picked that.
I had them borderline not making the playoffs. So I'm
I had them 50, but I didn't think 50. I thought like their ceiling would have been like 50 wins. But when we had Moochie on, Moochie said they'd finish 3rd this year, and that's what it looks like they could do.
Yeah, they could. So definitely for me, just for matchup purposes, I think the Clippers will give them the most problems, but mentally they're just like the weakest team. Like they have the best team on paper besides the Warriors, but as far as in the West, but it's just mentally, I just don't know if they have the fortitude to hold up. So just for matchup purposes, I'll say the Clippers. But we haven't really talked about Durant, guys, so we got to talk about Durant. Sam,
if I could just add one thing on the Clippers, it's something to note. Blake Griffin has been awful against Draymond for 3 years.
Blake Griffin does not want to see Draymond Green in a game.
He turns into a jump shooter, doesn't he?
I looked up the stats. I mean, here it is. I'm pulling it up right now. With Draymond on the floor, he is shooting 40% over 3 seasons. Actually 38%, sorry. And he's averaging something like 18 and 6. So, I mean, I think it's because Blake tries to overwhelm guys, and he can't overwhelm Draymond.
No, he can't.
It's better to. I got flack for saying Blake's got a questionable handle. Like, he's got a really good ball handling skills for a power forward, but he does not have great ball handling skills relative to wing players. And he tries to play like a wing versus Draymond, and it ends up in turnovers and bad shots over and over again.
Hey, that's definitely
Blake Griffin is very good with the ball, just playing like in a straight line.
Yeah.
Getting it and just going with it. But he's not going to get out there and dance and chop anybody up out on the perimeter.
He's great at using his ball handling to take advantage of a slower big or just a standard big man. But if you put someone who's used to guarding ball handlers on him, he kind of struggles a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
great point, Sam. Very great point. But definitely got to talk about KD. I know if he was watching this, he probably would be a little annoyed. So is Durant the MVP? And why is he the MVP, Sam?
I don't think he'll win MVP. I think he's played good enough, and I think he will get an MVP assuming he stays on the Warriors the next few years. I kind of just think I think this year. Well, if the season ended today, I'd give it to Harden, and I kind of think LeBron's going to end up getting it by the end of the year because he's cruising to crazy numbers, and they're going to probably end up with 64 wins, 65 wins, and he's going to be flirting with a triple-double. And I think kind of the momentum of the finals last year is going to probably give LeBron the MVP, especially when he kicks it into kind of overdrive February on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think KD will get it. I think he's playing very much in the flow. Like, he's been, don't get me wrong, he's been amazing. But.
Right. Oh no, definitely. This panel, I mean, we pretty much feel the same way. We've talked about his defensive improvements. Being more of side of a rim protector. It's kind of hard to give it to him when he's on this team, when there's other players that are on teams with less talent and that are doing big things for their respective team. But,
I like him this year to LeBron's first year in Miami, where they started unlocking like all the additional skills that they had because they were playing with better teammates. And so I think like next year we'll see an even better KD, because you're seeing it now with like the defense and the passing and stuff. He kind of wasn't known for in OKC because he had to carry such a heavy offensive load. I think it's only going to get better, and next year people are going to really be about like, wow, he's an all-around player like LeBron.
And that's a scary thought, man. That really is. Gonzo, what do you say about it?
MVP. Right now, I have Harden as my MVP. Second, I would have KD. And I think about this too, guys. I think that LeBron was given 2 MVPs in Miami, which I did not think. I mean, he was a better player because he played with a better team. I mean, why not give it to KD? I mean, his defense is greatly improved. His passing is improved, and believe it or not, like, even on nights when he's not really doing a whole lot, he's done a whole lot. Like, if you look at his numbers, he's still producing. Even on nights where Klay is bad and Steph is bad, he's still putting up those 25 points. And he's giving you, like I said, rebounds. He's giving you assists, and he's became a pretty good rim protector. I mean, I would put him as my second, but right now, James Harden.
Piggybacking Gonzo's point, I was at the last Warriors home game before the Indiana one. So against Phoenix at home, and KD only took 7 shots, got 20 points. It was one of the most dominant 7-shot games I've ever seen because he was doing everything you were saying. He had, I think, 3 blocks, but that doesn't really do justice to the amount of shots he, changed.
Right.
And he was running the whole offense kind of out of the high post. He was passing up. He could have had that 18-foot shot all game, but he was just finding Steph and Klay all day. And he just kind of – it didn't look like he was doing a lot, but he did everything.
So that's great points. I mean, like you say, blocks and steals, they don't always represent the exact like defensive player. I mean, sometimes people that have a lot of steals, they aren't really good on defense because they gamble a lot. We won't go naming players because we don't have to, but I'm sure we know who we're talking about. But Matt, what about you, man? I know you happened, but
yeah, you were on with me on Monday. I had Kevin Durant as my MVP right now, and like I said, he won't win it. Just like they didn't give LeBron MVP that first year, so the voters won't give it to him. Steph won't win it either. Voter fatigue. I do think LeBron eventually does win it, like Sam said. But here's an interesting stat I said a couple weeks ago, and I'm pretty sure it's close. Opponents this was 2 weeks ago. They were shooting 37.7% at the basket with KD defending the play, which was first amongst players. 131 players with 40-plus plays. So that just shows his effect defending at the rim. So that's basically why I've got him up there. His shooting efficiency is off the charts this year. He's just been really fantastic for this team.
Yeah, so I've one thing, if you ever get to see KD live, that just stands out is how tall and long he is. Like watching him on OKC, he was taller than Ibaka with the same wingspan. So the fact he can do all this rim protection stuff isn't surprising. He just hasn't been asked to do it in the past. It's really cool to watch now.
He didn't have to in OKC because you got Adams, you had Ibaka, you got Canner off the bench who's tall. So they didn't need him to block shots and defend the rim.
Yeah, to be honest, I was never worried because I know when they said there was only one ball. But, this team has already showed they can share the ball. This isn't like when LeBron and them went to Miami and they had to pretty much create a new system for them. No, this has already been instilled on the team. KD is just following suit. And it shows perfectly that he can fit. So, honestly, I'm happy for him. I wasn't really happy that he went there. Hey, he's a grown man. He made his decision. And, hey, he's doing well over here. And you can do nothing but respect his game. Even if you – whatever, off court doesn't really matter. You respect his game. In closing, Sam, tell the people where they can find you and anything else you would like to plug on the show.
Okay, so the easiest place to find me would be on Twitter at Sam Esfandiari. I will link out anything I put on Warriors World there. You can also search my name on Warriors World, but it's probably easier to go through when I tweet it out. I also link up, occasionally contribute at other sites. So you can find everything by going through my Twitter, basically.
Yeah, trust me, guys. He is a great follow. I've been following this man for a little over a year. Very smart guy, but he's very, very funny. And some of that is sarcasm. So you have to know it's sarcasm,
Yeah, for sure. And I will plug Warriors World. If you're looking for Warriors content, it's the longest running independent site. Been covering the team for over 15 years, back in the Vontigo Cummings and Chris Mills glory days.
Nice.
So you can find some fun content on there because you got like the salty old Warriors fans who still don't know what to do with the fact that they're now a premier team.
Yes.
Once again, Sam, thanks for coming on. Before we get out of here, I just want to make sure everybody on YouTube, when this drops, go ahead and leave a like, share, comment. Definitely ask some questions because soon we'll be having we'll have pretty much a questionnaire type show where we're going to get everyone's questions from YouTube and Twitter. So definitely follow us at Unquestionably Raw podcast on Twitter. And as well, when this comes out on our podcast channel for iTunes, definitely leave us a rating and tell us what you like about us and what we can change because, hey, there's nothing like constructive criticism. We want to do better. And, we respect your opinions because you watch our show. But definitely thanks for coming on today, Sam. I look forward to maybe having you on again soon. And thank you, Gonzo, and thank you, Matt. It's been a great show. Thank you, guys.